What a lovely place. Can we just have a round of applause for brand innovators? Well done. And these guys working very hard, all of them. Great job here. I'm very thrilled, absolutely thrilled to be here, but also really honored to be with this amazing, talented crew of panelists. I mean, these folks are at the cutting edge of marketing, brand building. They know their stuff. So what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about something very big, right? Giant. Brand building in the age of AI, not the digital age, but that's gone. That was the 90s, right? I love the 90s though, but it's gone. So that's what we're going to focus on. But before we kick off, should we have some fun? Should we forget about the content for a second? Yeah, take a little break. Yeah, I think so, right? So I want to know, there's a real rapid fire question. Well, firstly, everyone's been to Cannes, that's here, right? When we go to Cannes, we have to pack. What is the most essential thing you need to pack when you come to Cannes? The one thing you will not leave home without. For survival, for fun, whatever it could be. Let's start with Joe, because you're thinking there. You're thinking very hard.
The one thing that I won't leave home without, okay, so one work, how about one professional, one personal? I always bring 2 bottles of cologne and a blank notebook.
2 what?
2 bottles of cologne and a blank notebook.
Wow.
Because I carry a bottle and I leave a bottle, but I always bring a blank notebook.
Nice.
And
nice.
it has to start fresh. Like, it can't have anything else in it. I have to flip the page.
White sheet of paper.
Yes.
I like
fresh.
white canvas.
Why do you leave a bottle of cologne?
No, I always bring 2. So I take one with me. I leave one in the room. And then,
on the road.
Yeah.
One to go, one to show.
You know they have samplers, right?
You asked. Poor me.
So Beverly.
Prescription sunglasses, because I cannot see. And so everything is like this. I'm sorry, who are you? What? So I bring prescription sunglasses because I bring 2 pair because I'm inevitably going to lose one. Right. And so I bring 2 pair of prescription sunglasses.
And being in Arizona, right?
Nevada.
Oh, Nevada.
Nevada.
Careful.
Las Vegas.
Yeah,
So
we're in the
different.
line. Sorry, I just crossed it a little bit. Brilliant. Jessica.
I brought 4 pairs of glasses and 1 bra. And if you are a lady and you like to sweat here, you will find 1 bra to be insufficient.
Insufficient.
So I would say next year I will bring maybe 7 or 8 bras.
It's good to know. Thank you, Jessica.
You bet.
Lexie.
Yeah, well, I also brought some Skims, so that's,
okay, solid.
not great, but great. But I would say I always purchase 3 to 4 new dresses so that I've got that confidence, because otherwise you just feel slumpy.
Nice. That's very good. So I actually do this liquid IV. I'm not trying to promote it. It's a magic. Oh. Everyone know about this stuff? Yeah?
Yeah.
You got to do it, right? I was out last night. I wasn't going to drink. I was going to stay out. And guess what I did? I did both, So liquid ID all the way. So thank you for that. So let's kick off with our session. I want to just build some context first, right? Let's take a moment, set the stage, as one says. The digital age, for the past 20 years, we've been focusing on presence, right? The presence where we need to be, right? We follow the same old cliche, the right time, right place, right? All of those components within search, within social, within media. So we've also kind of put these layers on where we have to optimize by omni-channel. It's happening today. We do it all the time, right? And all we're doing is mapping and following the user journey, blah, blah. I know, I can keep on, right? But we've been doing it for so long. And now, with this advent shift of AI, right, it kind of changes everything. In a great way, a scary way. And I hope the next conference we're not talking about AI. It's getting boring. It's like talking about ad tech, right? Remember those? I mean, I've been around a long time, and it's like seeing a lot of changes, right? So when you think about AI right now, what AI is doing, outside of just being present, right, which is what the day of ad tech was and digital advertising, it's all about being intelligently engaging, right? And we have amazing, I'm going to not drop the AI, tools from partners like Adobe, right? Whereby you can do personalized content, like one-to-one at scale, massive scale, predictive insights, brilliantly predictive insights to really narrow down what you need to do. And just the real-time tools that all combine this. So we have this whole amount of tools that we can use in today's world. So why does it matter? Why are we here? Why should we care, right? As brand marketers, as we sit here. So whether you're, an amazing legacy brand, I mean, you're, Joe, what, 200 years old? What was the New York Times?
233.
Thank you for that. 233 years. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
233.
Upright. 233 years old.
Joe,
I'm going to start rapping.
Right. Sorry.
it's not an ice
Mic
cream
check,
cone.
mic check.
Right.
We were told how to use the mics. We can't do that. We got to do this. Okay, so 233 years old. So whether you're a legacy brand, or some of you who are a new brand, or you're just trying to keep up. Mm-hmm. Who's trying to keep up? Put your hands up. Who's just trying to keep up? Be honest. Come on. Nobody? Really? I'm putting my hand up. So we're just trying to keep up in this ecosystem. Whether you're all of that, we have to take a step back and say, AI is giving us these tools to do creativity massively, right? We can engage and we can tell amazing storytelling, right? Massively. So what we're here to discuss today is how can we be or stay meaningful in this new ecosystem? Sound good? Yeah. All right, so with that, I'm going to go to my first question. I get to do my
The clipboard is out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I go clipboard. No digital from me.
A lot of eye contact going on. Yeah.
So I was reading a recent blog, because that's what you do before you go to a panel, right?
Yes.
And I was fascinated. There was one stat, Heather Freeman, right? She had written that basically 71% of consumers want to have personalized content. They love it, right? But they can't get it.
Yeah.
So 34% people cannot get this, right? You sit at this great intersection. Can I just say, everyone knows Adobe. Did you know you can get Photoshop for free on your phone today?
And download it now.
Yeah, that's pretty hard. I mean, I've known Adobe.
And if you can't Photoshop, do Adobe Express.
I've known Adobe for 20 years. I love your products. So you sit at this intersection of brand and product. So you have to be a brand marketer, right?
Yep.
So you know firsthand, it's like you're serving out the dog food and you're feeding it, right? You got to like flip it around, right, and do it. So from your perspective, when we think about Gen AI specifically, what's your approach in building brands for Adobe? Like when you think of that level.
Yep. Well, one thing I was going to say about Gen AI where I don't think it's like MarTech is it reminds me of the beginning of social media, where it's like, it's here, it's going to exist, it's going to be a main part of marketing, and you have to learn how to use it. The people who don't know how to use it are going to be left behind. The people who can use it are going to be infusing it into their entire process. I think the one thing that we're seeing with our products, and we're very lucky because we get access to our products, we get to use it, our teams get to experiment like crazy, is you have to have some sort of cohesive idea of what you want to do so that the brand doesn't lose its thread. So it's like what you'll see all throughout here, we have the same idea, which is we wanted to show how the people around Cannes were using Firefly. So you'll see throughout all of our creative, made with, made by, created with, made by. So you're not losing the artist, you're seeing what are the types of tools they use. And so the thing that I would say is, it's understanding what your message is, it's understanding what your look and feel is, and then it's understanding how you can ideate, and that's where we're seeing the best growth happening, is with people ideating, doing different things, being able to collaborate with one another, being able to say, I have an idea, I'm going to try this, then we can then bring it into Photoshop, then we can then bring it other places, and then you can create rules, and you can create guidelines, and then you can get it out as fast as possible and test as fast as possible. And I think that's one of the biggest things that generative AI is helping us do is get ideas into market, collaborate with one another, iterate very quickly, and then test really quickly so that you can build these long-living advertising campaigns based off of the data you need.
No, I love that. And I mean, if you haven't played with Firefly, just watch the videos. And the one thing that I noticed when I was playing with it, I thought, you know what, I can be the best creative person in the world.
Yep.
Just I've got the tools, I'm like really good, I'm like smart, whatever. I used to be an art student. I was really bad though. But anyway, so I was watching the demo and it's fascinating to me that you still need to be creative. You need that human touch, right? You can't just get away with it.
You need ideas. You need
ideas.
ingenuity. You need,
Right.
and you also need to know how to creatively speak to one another, because that's going to be the biggest part of this. You can't. It's not just outputs.
Right.
It's a process.
So then how should brands then, make sure that they're not doing the shortcuts, right? Because
Yeah.
it's so easy to do, right?
I
It's like
think
we're all under pressure. We're going to turn something around. And those in the creative group know that day in, day out, right?
the biggest thing is have your teams play. Like, have your teams really understand the tools and get into it. Because if you're all of a sudden saying, okay, we need to use Gen AI like we need to use other technologies, it's not going to work. So it's having your teams play, having your teams really ideate based on specific examples. We have this ad campaign. We want it to have this thing in it. We want this message to be there. Now go create 300 examples that would have taken months and months and a huge amount of budget to do, and then we can figure out what that is. And then once that's in place, figure out the right rules and ways of getting it into market as fast as possible, like we have with Gen Studio.
So shifting gears.
Yes.
Thank you, Lexie. Jessica, so excited to be with you today. And by the way, congratulations, 6 months in,
Thank you
CMO,
so much.
what a rock star. So I have been a LinkedIn user, I think since 2004. That ages me as well. And anyone not a LinkedIn user, I mean, right, impulse, who is that person in the back? Who
I'm
are
coming
you?
for you.
Yeah. So watch out. So you have an amazing platform, right? From a B2B perspective, from a consumer perspective, and you've done amazing stuff in your careers. So you're going to touch and make gold happen. In the time that you've been there, what are the core trends that you're seeing from a platform perspective?
So I'm so fortunate to be at LinkedIn. It is an amazing company and platform. We have over 1 billion professionals around the world on the platform, and so we have a front seat to the labor market globally, which is, if anybody's paying attention, is being radically scrambled in many exciting and troubling ways. And then we are an ads platform, a sales platform, a hiring platform. So our B2B reach is also really rich and varied and exciting. I would say in terms of trends on the B2B front, maybe you've noticed that video is exploding on LinkedIn. It's grown 36% year over year. People who post video get incredible engagement and traction. I tell all CMOs and chief comms officers, your entire C-suite, your entire VP cohort should be on LinkedIn multiple times a week, doing video, sharing insights, sharing product launches, sharing CFOs, sharing earnings releases. The executive comms engagement that we see on the platform is ridiculously awesome. So don't be intimidated by doing video on LinkedIn. Grab 3 minutes between meetings, shoot yourself, say a couple of insightful things about your industry or your segment, and you will reap the benefits. So our ads platform with video is just doing incredibly well. And then I would say we call people members on LinkedIn. The anxiety in the labor market is enormous. AI scrambling jobs, constant corporate layoffs, macroeconomic cuckoo. So we play a really, really important role in supporting workers and being their career companion and helping them reimagine themselves, gain new skills. The nature of a job and work is going to change radically over the next few years, and we're here to help.
It's amazing. So we're going to have more time?
What?
Will we have more time because things are changing so much, like more
Oh,
quality
yes,
time?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Humans still matter. Human
Yes.
skills still matter. I'm here to tell you the robots are not coming for us.
Perfect.
AI is an incredible assist to us in terms of efficiency and creativity and ideation and customer engagement and revenue growth.
Right.
But the core of brand strategy and communications and delivering compelling messages is human.
Yep. No, I love it. I love that. Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that. Really fond of your platform and like all of your platforms here, to be honest with you, with Adobe, as we go into LinkedIn and now, Zillow, amazing. Finding my dream home. That's where I found my home, to be honest. I was living in an apartment in Manhattan, And I was like, what's going to be my dream? I punched above my weight, but hey, who cares? In Rye, New York. But so you've done an amazing thing with changing the language to making it much more easier from your platform perspective, using AI, right, to use words that are much more common, like affordable, right, like schools, all the things that I didn't take into consideration 10 years ago. So, but it was an amazing touch for that, right? So you're building, and the question I want to stem towards is really building the trust with AI, right, and connecting with those users. How are you managing that going forward with the tools that we have today?
So I'm going to answer the question two ways.
Okay.
First off, if you are worried about the job market, you should be on LinkedIn now. Don't wait until you don't have a job to engage in LinkedIn.
Yep.
And I just don't ever understand why people don't do that.
Yep.
It's like then you jump on LinkedIn after you lost your job and you're like, hey, y'all. Like, maybe you should talk to me before. Okay, sorry. I just needed to say that. Like, that's been on my spirit. I just needed to say that. Okay, now let's talk about Zillow and how we use AI. So I like to think of the Zestimate as the original OG AI. And when we think about, so we've been doing this for 20 years. We're not new to this. We're true to this, as I like to say. But in the world of building trust for folks, someone said this to me. Zillow is the most trusted, most important brand in the history, in shelter, in the history of the world, right? So people want...
That's amazing.
That is amazing,
like
right? It really, truly is. Like,
that's the headline.
That's it. I'm out.
There, we're done.
Well done. Send my paycheck, too. But, when we think about the role of AI in this, because AI is so endemic in a part of who we are and it's native to the company, the brand itself, we think about AI in three ways. And the first way is every leader at Zillow has to use AI with their teams as a part of productivity. It is now a part of our goaling, not to displace people, but to make us better. And when I think about my teams and the 150 people that I support or I lead, the reality is not for them to use AI so I can get rid of them, to make them use AI so they can keep up.
Right.
I want folks coming for my team and trying to recruit them. You can't have them, of course, but I want them to be desirable because they know the skills. Yeah. The second place we use AI is actually in the creative. So we're doing things like we have a podcast on our B2B side of the business, which most people don't think about us from because we're a two-sided marketplace, is we're using AI to scale content. So if we get a piece of content that works really well as a podcast, we ingest that podcast and figure out what are the insights that we can learn, what was sticky about that, and where can we put it on LinkedIn in the form of a video maybe, or where can we put it as motion graphics on TikTok or LinkedIn or on Threads? Where else can we put it? And then the third place that we think about AI is in our products. So our user base, the consumers, are becoming more and more comfortable with it, especially as they age down. Right. And if you're going to meet this audience where they are in this moment, you've got to have products that feel natural to them, that feel like they just got to hack into the system. Home buying is incredibly hard. We talked about it, as Jessica said, how macroeconomic trends are turning the world upside down. Home buying is one of those ones, like having a great job and a secure job, but being able to afford and buy a house and level up, like you said, is also one of those trends. Yeah. And given that, you want every tool available to you. So understanding what you can afford with our buyability tool, understanding what's out there with our tour and our Sky Tour so that you can see the neighborhood, you can see where you can take your dog for a walk, where you can go for what the house looks like. So in product, in productivity, and creativity. That's how we're using AI to stay ahead of the game.
Wow.
Okay, that was
amazing. Yeah, amazing. I'm going to buy another house.
Thank you. Can you buy it on Zillow?
I'm going to use Zillow, yeah, of course. No, but you know what you're saying,
way.
I love the way you use the word shelter as well. I love that. That is I don't think of it as, I love that. That's like the core of what people, it's the essence, right? And it matters across everybody. And then you have, obviously, this new demographic coming in the fold, right? The new Gen Z, like how they're buying and how they're looking and researching rentable apartments, right?
So you don't think about this, like in addition to selling homes or allowing people to post their home or to claim their home, and then creating tools for productivity in AI, like AI tools for real estate professionals. Because you think about it, there are 1.2 million real estate professionals in the U.S.
Yeah.
There are about 950,000 of them that actually do one transaction a year. How do we make them productive? How do we make it so they can...
One transaction?
Yeah, 950,000 of them do about one transaction a year. Real estate is really hard from the real estate professional
Wow.
side. So we make tools for them. But we got to start also in the rentals business because your first home, you, like, because
Yeah.
you're a baller.
I
and
know,
everything,
I'm old.
You probably started off like in like, a 3-story walk up with,
No,
like a
trust me.
spiral rooftop
I'm
balcony.
I'm from London and East Ham. It was like rough. Trust me.
But most people start with like a studio apartment or like a
Yeah.
loft or like, like a one little walk up. And so we do rentals, and that audience has a very different expectation of what they want and what they need.
Yeah.
And they need AI powered, sponsored, enabled tools to help them find that home. So
All three of you so far, we're coming to Joe, but I love what you're saying because, all of it is about it just being authentic to the consumers, doing things that they need, right? Pull the AI out of it. It's another way of doing this. And it just drives so much excitement when you hear what you're doing and collaborative, all of us doing, right? From the product perspective, the brand perspective, and jobs. So, thank you, Beverly. That was amazing.
of course, anytime.
Joe, you're next. Can you believe?
Hello,
Can
sir.
I just take a pause right now? I'm going to take a pause. We should do a fireside chat with all three of these, right? This is not fair. Okay, you guys are so amazing. And Joe, I'm already preempting it, so I'm raising it up there. But you have an amazing business, right? 233 years old.
That's
right.
great.
Again, like I touch all of you. Like I buy stock. Obviously, I made money, lost money, right? All that fun stuff. But you're sitting with. This is the market cap for the New York, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? $41 trillion market cap
Good data.
is what you're
You-
sitting behind.
You did
right?
your homework. That's correct.
And how many listings? How many?
2,400 listed companies.
Insane. And you're sitting sort of in that junction, right?
Correct.
So how do you evolve? How are you keeping up with that? How do you evolve your business with the legacy brand like that? How are you evolving this to today?
It's a good question. So if
Thank you.
look, if you look at the New York Stock Exchange and you look at it in one way, you typically think about the New York Stock Exchange as a source of capital or helping businesses find new sources of capital. And that's true. Our teams have extended its services to make sure that we're a source for great partnerships, we're a source for great storytelling, and that's in large part why we're here today. And if you think about being a listed company, you come into a community needing a variety of resources, board advisory services and legal services and IR services, and what you also get as an extension of my team and the team that's headed up by individuals that are here is you get strategic marketing, media, communications, media relations, social media. And that's a strategic resource that is necessary for all of these companies, whether depending on what stage of growth they're in, meaning they might be a very well-established company like Disney, like Pinterest, newer public companies like Reddit, GM. You have these companies that are still leveraging those strategic resources. Then you have newly public companies like Mountain, Hinge Health, other groups that are, now thinking about going public. So that strategic resource is really important to them. And, I know we touched on AI and
Yeah,
I can get into
Can I
that
ask,
as
so
well.
when you're a legacy business getting strategic resources, what would they be? Like, I'm just being like,
Yeah,
what would you guys deliver for them from a brand perspective?
We are a backdrop for a lot of these companies to be able to put their narrative out into the marketplace.
Right.
So if you imagine at any particular point in time, a company has a really important message that they want to get out either to retail investors, or they actually just want to get out to consumers or to the street, they leverage the New York Stock Exchange. And then what we do, my team in particular, is that we form incredible partnerships. LinkedIn, Adobe, Wall Street Journal,
Right.
Brand Innovators,
Yelp.
Zillow, because what we're doing is we're doing storytelling.
Wow.
And so there's that aspect. Then there's the paid
So you
marketing
actually
aspect.
help.
And the
You
whole,
just you safeguard it. You construct.
you
and help
safeguard
that
it, you
promote.
put it together, you help become an extension of a CMO, you help become an
Right.
extension of their communications team, and you make sure that in some aspects you're leveraging their products in
Right.
the right way. You're embedding some of their products into the
Amazing.
fabric of what we're doing, and we're actually using a lot of Adobe's products, a lot of
Right.
AI. We're embedding it so we can scale our creativity, we can translate faster, and that's just in the marketing communications realm. We're not even talking about leveraging AI in the trading aspect and how we are building a trading platform of the future where individuals are finding new sources of capital.
Right.
Or on the other side of the house where we have Intercontinental Exchange, that's an entire, data, like that's our parent company. We're owned by a massive data company that's leveraging AI to help you understand capital flow. So there's all these different points in time.
Can we turn up the speakers on the stage? It's
Yeah,
very hard to
thank you.
hear.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Thank
that's
you.
okay. And you were doing the right position with the mic.
Yeah,
so
no, I got it. It's like a cigar.
Yes. Thank you. It's fascinating to me because the depth that you have to do and the scalability. I mean, that
The
must be-
scalability is important because
Right.
we look at our partnership on two levels. On behalf of all of our community, that's a lion's share, and then in addition, on behalf of our business, but in service of all of those partners.
Right.
So everything that we do is a give to the marketplace.
Perfect. And is it, when you look at sort of young generations, new generations, is that a big criteria? Like, how do you attract?
New generations?
Yeah.
Well, new generations come in the form of helping companies put their narrative out into a marketplace. So, for example, when you have, newer companies that are coming into a public, a public arena. Number one, they're learning to be a public company. You have Reddit, that's an incredibly established company. They become a public company. Now, internally, they're reimagining how they're going to show up in the marketplace. Well, there's both the business side of that and there's the consumer side to that. So,
Right.
from that aspect, you help companies do that. On the flip side of it, there's a lot of financial literacy as we help companies figure out a new generation of investors. You have PE firms that are definitely attractive, and then you have retail investors who are coming into the fold in an entirely new capacity, and you want to make sure that they're engaged in capital flow just
Right.
as much. And so financial literacy is a big
Right.
component of that. You can do that with platforms like eToro. You can do that with platforms like eTrade. You can do that with platforms like Schwab, who their main constituents is to bring those individuals in.
Amazing.
Yeah.
No, it's fascinating, and I don't personally think of it that way. And then you have this great establishment and all of your companies, amazing layers, complications, but you simplify it. And what an amazing audience you are. I see this red sign here which says seconds. So maybe one quick question and then we'll wrap up. Yeah,
Perfect.
Because you guys are amazing, and I just want to do this. So I was thinking about this question while I was getting on the plane, and then I thought about it here today. We talked a lot about human touch. My mic is going up, right? Okay. Human touch. So keeping brands authentic with AI, right? That human touch, the true voice of a brand. How are you doing that with the advance of AI? And what I want you to do is, I'm going to flip back here. I just want you to figure out one word. You cannot use AI or personalization, right? One word that sums up the future of branding for you. One word.
Creators.
Supportive.
Nice.
Culture.
Access.
Fantastic. So, we've come to an end, unfortunately. We could go on for hours here. But I do want to thank my amazing and very talented panelists over here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great insights. And thank you to all of you as well for being here. But let's keep the conversation going. That's what I asked. So
Thank
let's
you.
go. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.